Pirates seized an American ship for the first time in 200 years. Now the captain and the entire crew are being held hostage by the aggressive Somalis.
Don't shoot him! Don't shoot him!
The movie opens with a man named Richard Phillips about to leave on a long business trip. His wife accompanies him to the airport. The couple are very fond of each other and have a hard time separating. Meanwhile, on the coast of Somalia, poor villagers are starving for work. They are visited by armed bandits. They aggressively demand that the villagers set sail immediately and seize a foreign ship. The bandits need money, which the pirates can get as a ransom for the ship. Piracy seems to be the only way for the locals to make a living. Besides, if the pirates don't follow through on the orders, the bandits will punish them. There's a skinny man named Muse who is an experienced pirate. He recruits people to his crew. Among others, he takes a 16-year-old boy named Bilal. For him, it will be his first time at sea. Also in his team is Naji, a tall and strong man. He may be useful in the capture of the ship. There are others who want to make money. Soon the pirates set sail in 2 boats to the sea, where a larger ship awaits them. It has the necessary equipment to track down cargo ships. The 2 teams wait for a suitable ship to pass nearby for capture. Meanwhile, Richard Phillips arrives in Oman. It turns out that he is the captain of the container ship MV Maersk Alabama, which is to deliver commercial cargo to Kenya, as well as food for the starving tribes. Captain Phillips climbs aboard and the first thing he does is inspect the ship's guard rails. The bad feeling still lingers in the man's mind. He goes up to the cabin and, together with his first mate Shane Murphy, studies the ship's itinerary. One aspect worries the captain quite a lot.
Then we're on our own down the coast through the Somali basin.
Phillips is well aware that pirates routinely venture into these waters. Adding to his anxiety is the fact that the Alabama's course is far away from other merchant ships. But this is not Phillips' first voyage, and he knows how to keep it safe. Finally, the ship leaves port and sets sail. Or maybe the captain is worried needlessly. After all, what can a bunch of beggars do to a well-equipped, modern ship? So, while the pirates watch for any ship traffic in the vicinity, they discover a lonely ship in unprotected waters. It is the Alabama. In the evening, Captain Phillips receives a letter alerting him about pirates in Somali coastal waters. The man's fears are confirmed. The next day, he conducts a drill to test the team's readiness for emergencies. Hearing the drill alarm, the sailors act quickly and smoothly. This reassures the captain. He has nothing to fear and his crew can handle anything. But just after the drill, Phillips spots 2 blips on radar heading in their direction. He orders the crew members to return to their stations immediately. This is no longer a drill. The captain reports to the emergency service that the container ship is being pursued by 2 pirate boats. The report is accepted, but they advise not to worry, because they may be ordinary fishermen.
They're not here to fish.
And the boats come closer and closer. Now the captain, through the binoculars, can see the heavily armed men in the boats. He orders to increase the speed of the ship immediately in order to get away from the pirates. But there is no way for such a huge ship to evade the light motorboats. Then Phillips takes emergency measures. He knows the pirates are listening in on their radio communications. So he pretends to contact a military vessel and asks for support. Altering his voice, Phillips answers as the captain of the fictional warship that a helicopter has already been dispatched toward the Alabama. One team of pirates gets spooked and turns the boat back. However, the Muse gang is determined to catch up with the container ship. Then Captain Phillips is forced to accelerate the ship to maximum speed. Muse's boat engine can't handle the strain and it shuts down. The chase finally stops. Phillips breathes a sigh of relief, but has no idea what awaits him next. In the evening, the captain gathers the crew together and tells them in detail what has happened. He praises the crew for their hard work and hopes that help is on the way. He also orders his subordinates to be on duty around the clock until they pass the dangerous waters.
Captain, they're coming back.
The sailors begin to complain, for they did not sign up for such challenges. What's more, there are no weapons on the ship to stand up to the pirates. No one wants to risk their lives. Phillips gets tired of listening to this, and he announces that any crew member can go ashore at the nearest port, but in the meantime must obey orders. Back at their floating base, Muse forces his men to repair the boat's engine as soon as possible. He intends to sail to the container ship again tomorrow. The situation on the boat is tense. They cannot return home without their loot, for the bandits will punish them there. But capturing the Alabama is not an easy job either. Tension causes Muse and the leader of the second pirate crew to quarrel. Muse emerges victorious from it and strengthens his authority. The next day, the pirates attach a second engine to their boat and set out to capture the container ship. The Alabama's crew immediately reacts. The captain alerts the ship and tells the emergency services that his ship is about to be attacked. The pirates are almost on board. There's no way to get away from them. Muse radios Phillips and tells him it's the Somali Coast Guard with a standard check. But Phillips doesn't fall for the ruse. Soon, Muse's men open fire. Alarmed, Phillips then orders the water cannons along the side to be turned on. The torrents of water will not let the boat get close and, in theory, could sink it all together. However, one water cannon turns out to be defective. This means that the ship has a weak spot. The brave Shane immediately sets out to fix the water cannon, even though the pirates are constantly firing on the ship. Shane fails to fix the malfunction in time, and Muse's boat manages to come to the very side of the container ship. Even the flares that Phillips fires in the direction of the boat cannot frighten the pirates. Shane has to take cover in order to avoid being shot. The captain realizes that the situation is critical, so he orders the entire crew to gather in the engine room. Shane heads there as well to coordinate the crew. Only Phillips, the helmsman and the watchman remain on the bridge. The captain orders a maneuver, but even that doesn't help. The pirates cling to a ladder and climb aboard. Phillips halts the ship and shuts down all systems to prevent the pirates from stealing the ship. Trying to remain calm, the brave captain instructs the crew and prepares to meet Muse and his men. Now his life is in danger, for the angry, armed pirates can do anything. The crew, led by Shane, hide in the engine room so the villains can't find and hurt them. The captain reports to the men over the radio about what's going on upstairs. He orders them not to let the pirates near the engine control system, and not to come out until the captain says the code word supper. He really cares about his subordinates and keeps their morale up.
Stick together, and we'll be all right.
They have to hold out until help arrives. True, it is unclear whether anyone is going to rescue them at all. The pirates easily make it through all the barricades. They burst into the control room and point their weapons at the hostages. The captain outwardly continues to remain calm and even friendly. The pirates speak little English and promise not to harm anyone. All they want is money. Phillips suggests that the pirates take the money that is in the safe. There is about $30,000 there. However, the smug Muse refuses. He knows that the container ship and the hostages can be worth several million. Phillips says the ship is out of commission because they were going at top speed, but Muse doesn't believe it. He goes to the control panel, presses all the buttons, but nothing happens. Then the pirate realizes that he needs the crew members to start the ship and steal it. Phillips, however, pretends not to know where his crew is hiding. Muse makes an announcement over the speakerphone. He will deal with everyone in the cockpit if the ship's crew doesn't show up in a minute, except that the captain has ordered them to sit still until he says the code word on the loudspeaker, so no one moves from their position. The pirates start to freak out. They scream and threaten the helmsman. In response, the captain confronts the pirate, assuring him that this is not the way business is done. By some miracle, Phillips manages to convince the frantic Muse not to harm the hostages. Muse reluctantly agrees, but wants to search the ship. The captain presses the radio button and discreetly warns the crew that the pirates will search the ship. Phillips goes along with them. He tries to lead the pirates away from the engine room and offers to inspect the hold. However, Muse senses a catch and insists that the captain lead him to the engine room, because the breakdown, and therefore the crew, must be there. Phillips agrees without enthusiasm, but tries to stall anyway. On the way, he leads the pirates to the food storage. Phillips accidentally notices that Shane is hiding in the vegetable storage room. He came here to get water for the crew. Phillips cleverly diverts the bandits' attention away from his sidekick by offering to eat. In doing so, he also manages to hint to Shane that one of the pirates, a teenage Bilal, walks barefoot and could easily hurt his feet. When the captain and the pirates leave, Shane tells the rest of the crew to break the glass at the entrance to the compartment. This will delay the pirates for a while. Meanwhile, one of the crew goes above to turn off the power in the engine room. In the dark, it will be harder for the pirates to find the people hiding there. Bilal goes first and steps on the glass with his bare feet. Phillips cautiously insists that we should go upstairs and treat the wound, but Muse is in no hurry to leave until he has examined everything. He doesn't care for Bilal's screams. The pirate is sure that this is where the sailors are hiding. Soon one sailor manages to sneak past the pirates and knock out the lights in the engine room. In the pitch black, Muse becomes even more furious and threatens Phillips again. But he soon calms down and sends the captain upstairs with Bilal, for they are useless anyway. Muse himself remains in the dark and continues to look for the crew, but he is no longer as frightening to the sailors alone. So, waiting for a moment, they attack the pirate from the back and disarm him. Then the sailors get in touch with the rest of the pirates by radio and tell them they have taken their leader hostage. They were not expecting such a turn. Phillips offers the pirates a compromise. He will give them the lifeboat from the ship and $30,000. But the pirates must abandon ship immediately. Muse reluctantly agrees. His men with the money go to the lifeboat, shielded by Phillips. At the same time, the crew brings Muse on deck. Big Najee forces Phillips into the lifeboat. Phillips climbs into the lifeboat, and only then does Muse approaches them. While the captain shows them how to steer the boat, the pirates slyly launch it into the water. So they break the treaty and take Phillips with them. They intend to get the ransom not for the ship, but for the captain. Phillips is horrified by what is happening. He has no idea how to get out now. The situation with the hijacked ship finally reaches a US Navy destroyer. An anti-piracy task force is there. The captain sends the destroyer off in the direction of the Somali coast in pursuit of the pirates. Will the military be able to rescue Phillips before the furious pirates dispose of him? In the dinghy, Bilal groans from the cuts. He can hardly feel his legs. Phillips cannot bear to see the boy suffer, nor can he bear to realize his own situation. Suddenly, strange noises are heard outside. It is the Alabama, led by a worried Shane, sailing after the dinghy so as not to lose sight of his dear captain. Phillips is feeling a little better. In the morning, the captain wants to arouse the pirates' conscience and tells them that the Alabama was carrying food to starving countries. This includes Somalia, but Muse indifferently declares that no help can be expected from the big countries. Their ships catch all the fish off the coast of Somalia, and the locals are left without work.
So you're fishermen?
Yeah, we are the fishermen.
Phillips feels sorry for his tormentors and decides to treat Bilal's wounds. There is a kind of mutual sympathy between the teenager and the captain. After all, Bilal is just a child. He cannot be blamed for his fate. On the destroyer, it becomes known that the media has learned of the captain's kidnapping. Now, if possible, everything has to be resolved by peaceful negotiation. Neither should Phillips be allowed to end up in Somalia, for it will be impossible to get to him there. That leaves them little more than 24 hours to carry out the operation. If the problem cannot be solved peacefully, the SEALs, who can use any means necessary, get involved. Muse's boss finds out that the military is on the case, so he stays out of contact. He's not going to get Muse out. He'll have to make his own way to shore. The pirates have just been abandoned, but Muse doesn't want to admit it. Meanwhile, the boat runs out of water and there is almost nothing to drink. Suddenly, the piercing horn of a destroyer can be heard outside. The terrified, nervous pirates are contacted by the military. Muse demands $10 million, but the pirates are offered water and food instead. The negotiator makes it clear that the captain's safety is important to them. The boat with the negotiator approaches the dinghy. It is being videotaped. This could be an important piece of evidence against the pirates. To confirm that Phillips is okay, the pirates show him to the negotiator. The captain is more worried about his family than anything else and requests to contact them. The pirates behave aggressively. They are frightened, and any careless movement will cause them to shoot. Najee can't handle the tension and fires his pistol at Phillips' head. Fortunately, the captain is only frightened, but not hurt. After making sure of this, the military moves back away for a while. Muse, on the other hand, tells him why he needs so much money. He has always dreamed of going to America. When he gets his millions, he will move to live in the United States. A second military ship approaches the dinghy. Phillips explains to Muse that no one will pay him now. Muse's boss has abandoned him, terrified of the military. It's all over for the woeful pirates. The military won't let them get back to Somalia. However, Muse objects that he can no longer back down.
I come too far, I can't give up.
Phillips looks at him in horror. The pirates have really come to the point of despair. It will be impossible to negotiate with them anymore. Meanwhile, the SEALs are landing on the destroyer. Help is close, but the captain is finding it increasingly difficult to hang on. Bilal gets out of the dinghy to get some air. Phillips asks to go to the bathroom after him. Suddenly he shoves the kid into the water and jumps off himself. This maneuver is noticed on the destroyer. Only they can't figure out which of the men who fell into the water is Phillips. With the military inactive, the distraught pirates catch up with the captain and forcibly drag him back to the boat. Najee is incredibly angry at Phillips and beats him up. The military senses something is amiss. They contact the pirates and surround them. The rescuers demand proof that the captain is alive, or they will tear the boat to pieces. The frightened pirates have to relent and show Phillips again. The villains reach the point of despair, no longer hoping for a ransom. They intend to deal with the hostage and throw him overboard. Then the soldiers change their tactics. They tell Muse by radio that the elders of his tribe will soon come on board. In their presence they will hand over the ransom. For this meeting the unarmed Muse must board the destroyer. The mention of the elders has a powerful effect on Muse. He begins to trust the military and agrees to go aboard the destroyer. Muse even regrets that the situation has gotten so bad and Phillips has become a casualty. But no one in Somalia can make money honestly.
Maybe in America.
When Muse goes off the ship, the military takes the boat in tow while being targeted. 3 pirates remain in the boat with Phillips. When all of them are visible in the portholes, the commandos will open fire. But so far only the helmsman is in sight. And Muse arrives on the ship and waits to meet the elders. But he does not yet suspect that this is a bluff. Without Muse, the pirates become much more aggressive. They are ready to take out Phillips again. The towing causes the boat to rock too much on the waves, and Najee gets angry. He keeps yelling and doesn't believe the elders will come to the ship. Phillips feels that he is about to meet his end. Then he picks up a piece of paper and a pen and tearfully begins to write a farewell letter to his family. Najee notices this. He and the desperate Phillips have a fierce fight. On the destroyer they realize that the situation has become more complicated and it is urgent to act. Najee becomes delirious, and he ties up the beaten Phillips. The pirate realizes that he will not be paid, which means that the captain can and must be eliminated. Although Bilal begs him not to, Phillips says his final farewell in horror. The man can't take it anymore.
Die, family!
Najee points his gun at the captain to fire, but at that moment all three pirates find themselves in the crosshairs, and the snipers simultaneously open fire. The targets are eliminated, and the captain is flooded with red liquid. He is in shock and has little sense of what is going on around him. He only cries and screams. The captain cannot believe that he is now saved. The military takes him to the destroyer and brings him in for a medical examination. The man has difficulty speaking coherently, only shaking and crying. But even at this moment, Phillips is thinking of his family. He will soon be able to call his wife. Meanwhile, Muse is arrested. He subsequently gets 33 years in prison for piracy. The pirate is still serving time in the United States. Despite the horror he has endured, Captain Phillips goes to sea again a year later. Did you know that this movie is based on true events? Imagine what it was like for the real ship's captain. Share your opinion in the comments and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss new videos. See you soon.